Welcome to Celebrating Everyday People, where we recognize those amazing people doing amazing work out there. My name is Yana Larson. Today, my co host is Brigitte Ben Ely of our art segment, which we do once a month. You can find us on Celebrating Everyday People on our page on Facebook and on Buzzsprout and beyond as we enhance our online presence. Brigitte, over to you.
Thank you so much, Jana. So today's special guest is someone who's redefining what it means to create, not just art, but opportunity, confidence, and hope. Emmanuel Sskito is a visual artist, community organizer, and the founder and CEO of Faces Up Uganda, which is a youth-led organization that has empowered over 10,000 young people across Africa through creative art and mentorship. Emmanuel has also received various accolades. I might not be able to mention them all. Among them, he's a 2024 Mandela Washington Fellow, has been recognized as one of the continent's leader to watch. His work has earned him a spot among the 100 most impactful global innovations by 100. And among others, he's also a top 40 under 40 finalist in Uganda. That's where he originally is from, and a nominee for African Youth Leader of the Year. Welcome to the show, Emmanuel. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. And just to jump right in, maybe we can just start at the beginning and you just tell us a little bit about who is Emmanuel and how did you get into art and how did art become a big life, and let's just start from there. Just tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to join this conversation. My name is Emmanuel Sskito Kalute, and I call myself an artist of artists. And I am the founder of the organization called Faces Up Uganda. How I got into this space, again, originally my dream was to become a football player, and I dreamed to one day become a professional and to play overseas. I grew up with a single mother. My dad is there, but I grew up with my mom, and my mom was always conscious and trying to support people around our home. So as a young boy, I got a clear image and a clear inspiration from my mom that you don't need a lot to support others. I grew up with the interest to support other people. So when I was a football player, I always was the captain. I got the opportunity to travel to Europe in 2012, which trip I thought was going to help me get the opportunity to become a professional football player. I went to Sweden, Norway, and Denmark to participate in international football tournaments, which I hoped there were so many scouts that were eventually going to give me the opportunity to make my dream a reality. When we went to Europe, we won all the trophies. We competed so well, but unfortunately, I never got the opportunity to be scouted out. With so many hopes I had, with so many expectations I had in football, I was truly, truly disappointed because I never got the opportunity yet. I had extensively invested a lot to go to Europe to attend these tournaments. So because of that disappointment, truly I lost the interest in football. And when I came back to Uganda, unfortunately, I got a football injury, an injury that took me out of football for over 9 months. The disappointment in Europe and also now the injury, truly I saw my pursuit for football had come to an end. I asked myself, what do I do next?
Because were you in the arts before? Sorry to cut you off, but were you in the arts before, or you was nothing? It was only football and nothing else.
Football every day, football training, dreaming to become a professional football player. But then when I got the injury, I could not play football anymore, so I went to university. Actually, it was at the university when I interacted with the arts, because I went to university and I pursued a bachelor's degree in industrial and fine arts. So I did art at university. Mm-hmm. I was at university because of the situation I was going through as an individual, the challenges I was facing ever since I returned to Uganda. I was looking for an opportunity to express what I was feeling that I could not tell other people. Mm-hmm. So when I interacted with art, I started expressing myself. somehow every time I got into creating art, it was relieving. It was a new space. It was a new world, but also enabled me to forget everything that I was thinking about. So it's slowly, that's when I got into the arts. And then when I got into the arts, I started asking myself, how can I use the arts and the skills that I was getting at university, and how could I share them with people that never got the opportunity to be at university?
That's
So that's
incredible.
how I picked the interest to start sharing my skills with communities. So that's a little bit about myself. I love children. I love to travel. I love to cook. I love food, and I love people.
I think we share a lot here. No, listen, first off, you have an amazing mom and a very wise mom, I must say. And and it's incredible. I mean, obviously she raised an incredible person here. And it's so fascinating to hear that it was only football and you weren't even in the arts and then just switched to the arts. Despite, I mean, obviously we want to talk about your foundation and all the kids you inspire, young adults you inspire. But I'm still interested. Are you still in the arts? I mean, are you still doing something? Are you still creating? Are you
actually, because again, over the years I've come to believe playing football and learning arts or going to study arts was preparing me for what I'm doing. At the start of the conversation, I referred myself as an artist of artists. I no longer get the time to create arts, but I'm creating opportunities where children and artists are making art. So it's like the artists my artworks. So that's how
it's a beautiful way of phrasing it. And it obviously brings us also to your organization, to Faces Up Uganda. So perfect transition of, telling us a bit more about this. So we understand where you're coming from. And you mentioned that beforehand, that at university, you thought of how, to engage others and inspire others. So why don't you just give us a little bit background now about Faces Up, how it started? I mean, how we started, we have an idea. But so what you're doing and with whom you're doing it and where you're doing it and what you are creating together.
Thank you. Actually, truly, I never had, when I was young, or when I just joined university, I really never had I didn't ever think that I would found an organization. Like, it wasn't in my plans. But when I started the arts, when I started using arts to cope up with what I was going through, but also the interest and the example I'd gotten from my mom being useful for other people, I started offering free classes over the weekends. So I used to study until Friday, and Saturday I could leave the university and go to the neighboring communities to teach children art. So I went to one of the communities. I requested a school to give me space to use their classes so I can mobilize children to come and learn art. So it started with actually 3 children. We went to 5, we went to 7, we went to 15, and we went to 20 students. So every time the number was increasing, and my entire interest was not actually to give a very big platform for the children. I just wanted, how can I just create opportunities for art so that children can come, express themselves, have fun, and go back home. Every time that they came, they were smiling, very interesting, and they were bringing friends. So it's those little moments that kept me encouraged to keep coming every Saturday. So during the same year, around 2016, that's when I started doing that. Around 2017, I was preparing to graduate from the university. So with all the children that were attending my classes, I told them that I was going to graduate the following year. So the children were very excited because I was going to graduate. I was at the university. But one of the girls that was part of the children that were attending these classes, she walked up to me and asked me, they told me that you're going to graduate. Are you going to leave us and find a job? Or are you going to come back and teach us art? It's like,
it's amazing.
That was the question. I always say that's the most innocent but most powerful question that has ever asked me. So what happened? I told this little girl that I'm going to come back. That's how I made a promise to come back and teach them art. I graduated, spent 3 months without going back. But after that, I went back and told this little girl that I'd come back. And when I went back, it's when actually I started to think, how do I organize myself? How do we mobilize more children? Because that question showed me that there are so many children that were taking interest in what I was doing. So it's how I actually started thinking about how do we even do it more and how do it with more children. That's how the organization started after that promise. And then the name faces up because many of the children that I was reaching out to or I was teaching were coming from extensively disadvantaged backgrounds. And many of them came to the classes worried. They had a lot of issues. They had a lot of things that they were thinking about. So every time they faced, some of them were facing down, like they were looking down because of the challenges they were thinking about. So every time I used to ask them, "Hey guys, face up, like
Oh
don't
wow,
face." And I also
that's
realized that over
beautiful.
the time, I was calling them to face up slightly above the barriers and the issues that they were facing. So that's how the name Faces Up came to be, and this is how the work has evolved over the years. And actually, at the start, our interest was just to give platform for children to draw, to paint, and go back home. But around 2019, offering the same classes, there is a little boy who joined our classes. This little boy, his name is Mark. So it was around 2019. Mark joined one of the classes, and the day he joined, I asked these children to draw what was on their mind. So Mark, the newcomer, it was around 9 years. He drew someone that was holding guns and shooting at people. It was a very strange image and artwork from a young boy like him. I asked him to tell me about what he had drawn about. He held the artwork and he hid it. He never wanted to talk about it. So I asked him to come back the next Saturday. This little boy, I asked him to draw what he wanted to do the next month. This little boy, he drew when he was killing animals, was slaughtering chicken and leaving them to run. The third time when he came, I asked him to draw what he wanted to happen to him when he grows up, or like what do you want to be when you grow up. This little boy drew an image of himself when he had taken his life. He drew when he had hanged himself. And this is a boy of 9 years. When I saw the consistency in these artworks, it really got me so shocked. I was like, how can a boy draw someone shooting at people? How can he draw himself killing animals? And how can he draw when he has taken his life? So I was like, no, there has to be a problem. I told him to take me back to their home. And when we went home, I realized that Mark was a refugee and he had a lot of trauma, which from South Sudan, he had a lot of trauma coming to Uganda as a refugee, and I never gotten any opportunity to share what he was experiencing or even feeling. So when I gave him the artwork and the paper and pencil and colors, this now became his voice. It's from that moment when I asked myself, how can I give Mark this platform so that he can draw everything that he cannot speak about? 1 month, drawing the same images. Second month, started drawing flowers, butterflies, sunshine. He started to smile, to relate with others. He became curious. He became very hard work. Third month, I'd never saw any sad image in his artworks. Everything was positive. He was smiling. He was working with peers so well. His life transformed.
Yeah,
I was like, what happened to Mark? Like, it's that actually what informed everything that we currently do.
It's the healing power of art, and you understood it from early on, right? After your football experience. And I'm sure that not only your experience, which is not obviously comparable to the traumatic experience of this 9-year-old boy, but I'm sure you have plenty of other stories of all the 10,000s of young people, experienced different levels of trauma or go through different levels of healing. And it's just that's the beauty of art. It can give this safe space to heal, and I think we often underestimate that. But that's it's like your stories are so incredible, and I'm sure you have plenty of other kids, right, where you see the changes in children. And for our audience here, I met Emmanuel, when did we meet? 2 years ago? at
Yeah,
Pato
we got
and
you. Yes,
Antoinette's screening.
yes.
And
I was in Washington. I
and you
was in
know how
Washington.
I yeah, right. And you know how I approached Emmanuel? He had a gorgeous jacket on with art on it, and also a t-shirt. I remember the t-shirt too.
Yes,
And I
yes,
asked
yes.
him, where does this come from? So, with my art background, I was like, where does this come from? That looks amazing. So,
Mm-hmm.
Faces Up is about helping children, giving a space to create. But again, Emmanuel does more with that, and it's. I mean, you're really a true inspiration. You're a true leader, and the place where you come from, it's hard. It's really a very rare to meet people like you who come from such a good place and create something incredible like you do. And so maybe you want to go a little bit also more into. I mean, I'm sure you have a million more stories to tell, from different experience from children, but maybe also for you for Faces Up and to tell, all the work you are doing. I mean, so it's not like kids are drawing, Emmanuel goes beyond, you're going beyond that. So maybe you want to just get into this too a little bit.
Thank you very much. Again, the organization that I lead, we work with young people, children and young people from underserved communities. We work starting from 6 years to 25 years. What actually is the most recent thing that we're doing? We are extending arts education classes for juveniles. We now work within one detention center, working with children in conflict with the law. We work with children with disabilities, both intellectual and physical disabilities, but also work with children with hearing impairments. We work with refugees, but also children facing multiple barriers. The organization that I lead, actually our strongest foundation is how do we use arts to enable children to heal out of the traumatic life experiences that they've gone through. And the way our organization is designed, we focus on healing, how we use art for healing. We focus on learning, how we use arts for young people and children to learn new skills, both soft and cognitive skills, but also creative skills. We also use arts to enable them to earn dignity for themselves, but also the urgency, but also on the other hand, earn income from their creativity. So how that is done, from the several items the young people do, from the several classes that they attend, some of them create artworks, paintings, photography, drawings, and we select some of these artworks, we transform them into merchandise. So we get their artworks, we print on t-shirts, we print on tote bags, we print on notebooks, we print on greeting cards, we print on several items, and then we sell these items on our e-commerce platform, but also physically during exhibitions where we get resources. And then 70% of the resources that we make, we save in a school fees fund where we pay school fees for children. And then 30% invest back into our program. So we currently pay school fees for 47 children from the sales of their artworks and merchandise. And the exciting thing is that most of our clients, our organizations, we make for them merchandise, we sell to them locally and globally because we're in position to ship across the world. So with all that work that we're doing, what we are aiming at is to make sure that children, those that are at school, are thriving, they're performing better, they are attending quality education, and they are learning at their right levels. And then for the children that are out of school, we are making sure that they are thriving out of school, making sure that make the right decisions, but also follow a clear pathway, which is positive, but also prepares them to fulfill their true potential. So that's the work that we do. We have the Community Arts Center. Actually, right now, because of the work that we are doing, there's extensive need of the work that we're doing. We have come to realize over the years, since 2023, the space that we have, our community center, is no longer enough for the children that want to access our programs. So this year, we started a journey where we are raising resources to build a big home. We already bought land. We have already raised 13,000
That's
US
incredible.
dollars. Yeah, we have raised 13,000 US dollars out of the 175,000 US dollars. And next month, we are starting the construction of a center, which we call the Theater of Dreams, which is going to be a home for over 300 children to learn at the same time. So we want to create more opportunities for these children. But the most important thing, we want to make sure that our program scales to several communities. As we speak, we have a model where we train teachers in under-resourced primary schools, and then the teachers extend our programs within their school. And currently, we work in 31 public schools in Uganda, reaching over 4,000 young people, more than 4,000 young people, because we train the teachers, and the teachers conduct these sessions in their classrooms. And the same of these classes, we have established over 15 art clubs in schools that never even adopted art before. So we are making sure that our program is embedded in schools, but also creates a platform where children access this network of support every day, every time, everywhere.
Emmanuel, we have to, unfortunately, we try to limit this to around 20, 25 minutes. So we have to about to conclude. I mean, there are still a million questions we both probably are interested in asking and getting to know about you and your organization. But since we have to conclude, and I was even about to ask you about your vision for the next years, but you already, laid that out. And but since we have to conclude, can you just for our audience, can you how can our audience, or how can we support you? How can they be part of the mission? Is there anything you'd like to share for our audience? How can they reach you? How can they find the merchandise? How can they connect? Would you like to end the final question? Since we speak about art, is there a specific artist you admire? Which is a hard question. When people ask me this, I don't know what to answer, but I still have to throw this out here.
Yeah, there's so many. One, before I can mention the artist that I admire, one thing to the audience, if there is something that they must give to children, they should give them a platform to express themselves. And art is one of these platforms, because it extensively contributes to their well-being, but also enables them to express sometimes things that are not in position to share. So if you have the platform that you want to create, please give children the platform to use art. How people can get involved or support our initiative? There are 3 ways. One, they can champion our cause. They can share this video with friends and they can tell them about Faces Up Uganda. 2, they can invite, I know they know a couple of people that might be interested in the kind of work that you're doing, founders, organizations, or even partners. So they can invite them and to interact with us. We are on social media as Faces Up Uganda. We are on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on TikTok, we are all major platforms.
You're all over.
Absolutely. And we also have an e-commerce platform, which is store.facesup.org. I'll share the details in the as a comment.
Okay, sounds fantastic. Last question.
Get involved. The third ways of how they can get involved, they can donate to us, they can invest in our work. We have the opportunity to receive tax-deductible donations from the US through our fiscal sponsor, but also we receive both PayPal and also Visa card donations on our website. The artist that I look up to is based in Ghana. It's called Ibrahim Mahama. Is such an incredible artist. So it's the artist that I look forward to, and hopefully this year I'll have the opportunity to meet him when I go to Ghana.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. So, Emmanuel, thank you so much for being here with us. And as always, we can continue forever and ever because there's so much you have to share here. There's so much you have done. So thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for really the amazing work you are doing. I mean, you're an inspiration to everyone. I think, Jana, I can speak for you as well, and for all of us here. And to everyone else, thank you for listening. And please look up Faces Up Uganda. And Jana, back to you here to conclude.
Thank you, Brigitte, and thank you, Emmanuel, for being here and talking about what you've done. I'm just amazed at the power of one person taking something that happened that wasn't what you wanted to have happened and turn it into something really positive. Truly amazing. Thank you for being here. And we hope you have enjoyed our show. If you have any questions or comments, please send us a message at malcolmpresents@gmail.com. And remember, you can find us at malcolmpresents.com and on YouTube, and Celebrating Everyday People on Facebook and Buzzsprout. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Bye bye. Wish you the
Bye.
best.
Thank you. Same to
Bye.
you.